Hi everyone, I welcome you back to this channel Technical Drawing Masterclass. So today we are going to look at the front elevation. So for the front elevation, you imagine yourself standing in front of the building and whatever view that you'll be seeing that describes the front elevation, that building. So today that's what we are going to cover, and I request that you stay watching the video until the end such that you get all what is required for you to draw front elevation in AutoCAD. So let's get started and I show you exactly what you're supposed to do. So right here I have this drawing that is going to guide us on how to get the front elevation. So this is what we are going to use. So let's get started. First, I'll make my layer for walls active. So I'll use the line command. Then I'll draw up that line. It should be horizontal. Then I'll highlight it. Then I'll offset it at a distance of 100 such that it can give me a splash apron. Then after that, I'll offset that other line at a distance of 3000 millimeters to give me the height of the walls. Then after that, I'll offset it at a distance of 200 millimeters to give me the height of the fascia board. So I'll use the line command, then I'll bring my cursor at this point here, right here. Then I'll draw up a vertical line up to that point. Then after that, I'll highlight it, then I'll copy it. That point right there. And finally this point right here. So you find that these lines that I've just drawn right here, they enable us to get the exact position of the building openings. So you find that this space right here, it should be covered up by the window. Then there is a space for the door. Then there is also another space for the window. So I'm going to show you how you can draw up the windows during the course of the video. So let's continue. So after drawing up these vertical lines, what is next is to put the windows, these two windows, then this door right here. Because remember, we are drawing the front elevation and we are standing at this point right here. So whatever we shall be seeing should be projected to this front view of the building. So let's continue. So I'll activate my layer for windows, then I'll use the rectangle command, and next I should find out the exact length and height of the windows. So according to this drawing I have right here, remember I took you through on how you can come up with the dimensions and the grid lines. So if you haven't watched this video, I urge you that you watch it such that you can be aligned with what I'm teaching right now. So here the length of the window is 1500 millimeters, and also the height should be 1500 millimeters. So I'll put in 1500 millimeters. I press the tab key, then I'll also give it 1500 millimeters as the height. So I'll explode this square, then I'll offset that line at a distance of 50, and this one 50, and also that one 50. So still I'll offset that line at distance of 750. Give me this line that is in the midpoint of this window. So I'll offset it at a distance of 50 this side, then also this side at a distance of 50. So next I'll first trim off these lines. Then next I'll highlight that line, then I'll offset it at a distance of 10. Then I'll do the same thing for all these other lines. Okay, so after that I'll use the trim command. Now trim off these excess lines. So when you're done, we shall come back to this drawing of ours. Then I'll highlight that line. After that, I'll offset it at a distance of 900, which is the window level. So I'll highlight my window that I've just drawn. Then I'll copy it to the front elevation right there, and also right there. Then I'll delete this one because I no longer need it at the moment. So what we are left with is the door. So I'll activate my layer for doors. Then still I'll use the rectangle command. Then for the length I'll give it 900. I press the tab key. Then for the height I give it 2100 millimeters. I'll highlight it, explode it, then I'll offset that line at a distance of 100 millimeters. Then also this line at a distance of 100 millimeters. And I'll do the same thing right now. So next I'll offset this line such that I can get the level for the door handle. So I'll give it 1000 millimeters, which is right there. So I'll mold up my door handle. So this is the simplest door handle that I can present to you. So when you're done with modeling it, you highlight it, then you move it to this point right here. Then when you're done, still I'll highlight it. Then I want to position it in the middle of this line and this line. So to do so, remember the distance between here and that point right there is 100 millimeters. So I want it to be roughly at the center. So I'll move it at a distance of 50, which is right there. So after that, I'll delete that line because I no longer need it. Then after, also trim off those excess part of the lines. Then I'll move my door where it's supposed to be at the front elevation, which is right here. So after that, still I'll delete off that line because I no longer need it, and also these lines, also those lines. So when you're done with putting the two windows, even the door, what we are left with is to draw the roof. So just imagine when you're standing right in front of this building, how will the roof look like? So this is what I'm going to show you. So let's continue. So remember, I already have this point at the front elevation, which is this point right here. What I'm remaining with is to project this point and also this point, because also I have this point at the front elevation. So I'll put my cursor at that point. Then I'll project a perpendicular line up right here. Then I'll highlight it. Then I'll just copy it to this other point. Okay. So when you're done, trim off those lines. because I no longer need them. Then I'll use the line command, but now under the layer for roof. So I'll draw a line starting from this point, but then it should be of any length. Then I'll press the tab key, then I'll give it an angle of 30. Then I'll do the same thing this side. From this point right here, I'll draw a line roughly of any length, then I'll press the tab key, the keyboard, I'll give it an angle of 150. Then where these two lines that I've just drawn, this one and this one, where they meet these perpendicular lines, I'll draw up that line. Because if you're to analyze properly, our roof doesn't form a peak, so somewhere it flattens. So this is what I'm trying to illustrate right here. So after that, I'll just trim off those lines. Then also I'll highlight these lines and I delete them. Okay. I'll also delete these lines. So you find that we are almost coming to the front elevation that we need. So I'll highlight that line. Then I want to draw the ridge of the roof. So I'll offset it at a distance of 50. Then so at that point at a distance of 50, then also at a distance of 50. So now what we are left with is to put the grid lines on our front elevation. So I'll delete that reference drawing that we have been having. So next we are going to put the grid lines. So for the grid lines, I'll first come up with so I'll snap that square at that point right there. Then I'll move it this side. Then also I'll snap it at that point right there. I'll move it at that point. That's how you can position this square in line with this point and this point in AutoCAD. So I'll still use the rectangle command. From this point right there, I'll draw up a rectangle up to that point. So next I'll highlight this line, then I'll offset it at a distance of 75 millimeters. Then next I'll use the extend command, then I'll extend that line up to the edge of this rectangle. That's the major purpose as to why I was trying to come up with this rectangle, such that my grid lines don't exceed the level of the rectangle. So still I'll highlight it, then I'll turn it to grid lines, then also I'll make it dotted. So I'll highlight it, then I'll offset it at a distance of 4150, which is this distance right here. The distance between this grid line and this grid line is 4150. Then also the distance between this grid line and this grid line is 1650. Then lastly, the distance between this grid line and this grid line is 3150. So this is what I'm going to show you right here. So I'll click at that line, then I'll offset it at a distance of 1650 right there. Then lastly it was at 3150, which is right there. So I'll just copy these tags, right there. So when you're done with putting the grid lines on your drawing, which is the front elevation, you shall delete this rectangle because we no longer need it. So after that, I'll activate my layer for dimensions. So I'll use the dimension command at that point right there. I'll indicate a distance between those grid lines. So I'll highlight this dimension, then I click at continue dimension, then I'll click at that point, and also at that point right there. So you find that I have all the dimensions I need. So next I'm going to put the hatch on the roof. So still I'll activate my layer for hatch, then I'll click at the hatch command. Then for the roof, mostly I love using this command. So here I'll give it a scale of 50, then an angle of 45, then I'll hit enter, then I'll click there, so there, and also there. So next, I'm going to include a kind of decorative on the building. So I'll use the rectangle command. First, activate my layer for walls, then I'll use the rectangle command, then I'll give it a distance of 200 by 200 as height, length. Then I'll use the line command at that point, the middle. Then I'll draw up a circle whose radius is 50. Then I'll delete these lines. Then I'll move this mold right here up to that point. Then I'll activate it. Then I'll highlight it. Then I'll copy this mold such that I can have multiple copies of it. So you find that in most cases, architects or any designer will always put some decorative mold at the edge of the walls. The major aim of it is just to make the building look attractive. Okay. So I'll just copy this mold to this other edge. You can come up with any kind of mold that you want your building to be having, and this is not the only type of mold that you can come up with. There are varieties of molds and that are kind of more attractive. So I'll click on the copy command, then I'll copy it at that point. Then after that, I'll trim off that line and also that line. So I'll name this window and also this window and also the door. So I'll activate my layer for tiles. So I'll draw a circle of radius 200. Then I'll use the text layer and I'll click on the text command. Then I'll put in window 1. Then I'll also highlight the text, then I'll give it a height of 150. Then I'll try to move it roughly the center of this circle. So I'll activate everything. At that point, I'll move this circle and the text at that point right there. So next, I'll just copy this tag, this other window at that point right there. Still, I'll copy this tag, then I'll bring it right here. So I'll just edit text to door 1. When you're done with naming the two windows and the door, next we are going to name the roof, even the walls, and also we shall name these molds, decorative molds. So for the roof, I already have a tag right here. So I'll just copy this label. I'll put it right there. Then next, I'll click at this multi-leader command. Remember, in our last video, I showed you how you can deal with the multi-leader style manager. So I urge you that you go back if you haven't watched that video. Watch it such that you can get to know how you can go over this and set up your multi-leader. So I'll click at that multi-leader command. And from that point right there, 150 millimeters thick wall, plastered and painted. to finishes, schedule. So when you're done, you highlight it, then give it a height of 150. So next, also I'll name these molds. So it should be Semi and Sun Decorative Mold, Architect's Approval. Then also I'll include the levels this building. So I'll put the roof level at this point right here, then the ground floor level at this point here, then the ground level at this point right here. So I'll click at the Home tab, then I'll use the line command under the layer for text. Then at that point I'll project a line that is horizontal at that point right there. Then I'll highlight it and I make it dashed. So I'll use the text command, then I'll put in roof level at a distance of 2800 millimeters from the ground floor level. I'll give it a height of 100. Then I'll move it right there. Then I'll just copy it at that point. Then also I'll copy it to that point right there. So I'll edit this one to ground level. And then it should be at zero level. This one should be edited to ground floor level. Then it should be at a distance of 100 millimeters from the ground level. So when you're done with naming the different levels on the front elevation, still I'll highlight my layer for dimensions. Then I'll use the dimension command. At that point, I'll draw up that dimension. Then from that point, then also I'll include the height of the door, which is the same height for the ring beam. So I'll show you how the ring beam looks like in one of the videos that I'm yet to present to you. So I request that you stay on the channel and make sure that you watch each and every video that I post. That means you must have subscribed to the channel such that you can always get notified whenever we upload this kind of content. So what we are left with is to name our drawing. So I'll borrow this label from the roof plan. Then I'll snap it at that point, then push it down. So I'll edit this one to front elevation. Then also I'll edit this one to So you find that we have come to the end of this video, and if you've really found something of helpful and it has added value to you, please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. Then also you can share this kind of content to your friends and relatives that you feel like they are in need of this kind of content. Thanks for watching. We'll meet next time.